Our nation is spending money that it doesn't have at an alarming rate. How can we spend money that we don't have? When our government wants more money to spend, they simply print it out. But printing money quickly ruins the economy and causes inflation. Another way our government gets more money is by borrowing it from other countries. What the United States ends up doing is borrowing millions of dollars from other countries and never paying it back. Borrowing money only has one outcome. If you borrow money, you go into a debt. Unless you pay off this debt, it'll keep stacking higher and higher. This is exactly what is happening to the United States right now. How would you explain how big 1 trillion is to someone?
This area that we are standing in, I'd say 1 trillion, if you had $100, would fill up the entire basin, at least up to my height or maybe higher.
1 trillion? I don't know, I think I'd say it's like 10 times a billion.
That's a lot.
Hopefully have like something I could write on, so I could show them like how many zeros there are.
Here is my demonstration of 1 trillion. Each 1 by 1 brick represents $1 US. Now I have 10 bricks. Now for another 10 to get a total of 20. Here's 80 more to get 100 bricks. Here's a 80 and here's a 20. Those added together make 100. Now I'm building 900 more. Add that to the 100 to get 1,000 bricks. Here's the 1, the 10, the 20, and the 80. Add that to the 900 I just made for a total of 1,000. This is the space where I showed you what 1,000 looked like. To demonstrate 10,000, I've moved to a bigger space.
So far I've shown you 1,000. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10,000. Now I'm going to show you 100,000. Look, so big I can fit in it. Now let's take it outside. Follow me! 10 million is at the same size as a penalty box on a soccer field. $100 million would take up more than 1/2 of a soccer field.
$1 billion bricks would require a piece of land as large as the entire south lawn of the White House. And if you want to picture 10 billion, you could look out towards the south lawn and see little bricks covering the ground all the way to the Washington Monument. Mr. President, if you stood on the south lawn of the White House and then walked in a straight line to the Lincoln Memorial, and then to the Jefferson Memorial, and then to the Capitol building, and then back to the White House, your steps would mark the perimeter of a container that would hold 100 billion bricks. Mr. President, you and my grandpa are alike. You both like to golf. From the Blue Tees, the Andrews South course plays 6,759 yards. That distance happens to be the exact length of one side of a square that would fit 1 trillion bricks. 16 trillion would require a circle nearly 28 kilometers in diameter, which would cover the whole entire District of Columbia, which is to say that all of the land inside the Beltway would be covered with bricks 2 deep. To shrink the deficit, we need to either raise income or cut spending. Which one do you think is more important and why? Let's talk a bit about raising income.
increase income.
I think they're both important.
I think you need to do both.
What are some ways that we can do this?
I think we have enough income. I think if we keep the taxes correct, and especially change the way the taxes work for business.
I don't know. Doesn't have this like value-added tax.
Creating our own sources of power.
I'm Canadian, I don't really care. Probably, like, sell things that other people want.
More taxes.
To provide more jobs.
Mr. President, I know that you are planning to let the Bush tax cuts expire, but is raising taxes really the answer? As famed economist Thomas Sowell said, raising taxes on the rich won't even run the government for 10 days. As of now, the government only has enough money from revenues to run the government through August 25th. Raising taxes on the top 2% only adds up to enough money to run the government through September 4th. Now let's talk a bit about cutting spending.
Decrease our spending.
Cut spending, for sure.
Cutting spending is very important.
We have to decrease our spending.
Cut spending.
Reduce the spending.
How can we do this?
Well, I think Ron Paul had some good ideas. He said let's cut 5 federal programs, and he said Department of, I think it was the Environment, Department of Education, Department of the Interior. Like he went through all those things, and he knew Ron Paul's 20-year senator, and so he knew from working on the inside of the government which things would be required to run a federal government and which things would be required. So I'd look at ideas like that. I have no idea.
Healthcare, like cheaper.
Buy things that we don't really need, such as, I don't know, just eating too much unhealthy things. We can also grow our own food and things like that. We don't have to always buy expensive food or do everything that we like. We have to change things.
Raise prices.
Here is 2012 presidential candidate Gary Johnson's view on the topic.
First of all, I believe that we need to cut government expenditures by 43% because that's the amount of money that we're borrowing and printing to cover the obligations that we have, the $1.65 trillion deficit.
So where do you cut?
Well, when you talk about Medicare, Medicare is absolutely going to engulf the entire federal budget here in a very short amount of time if it's not brought under control.
So, Mr. President, you need to cut government spending. The debt is growing too fast, and soon there will be nothing we can do to pay it back. It'll affect future generations greatly in a negative way.